Thank you, Mr. Undersecretary, for joining us today. As I see it, the administration is trying to tell our allies with our foreign policy, defend yourselves and increasingly do so on your own. And what the administration is trying to tell our adversaries is if you pursue a nuclear weapon, you do so at your peril. I get that. But that is not happening in a vacuum. This administration is clearly seeking to usher in a new global order. When the administration degrades international norms and rules and collective defense alliances, that has fostered the longest period of peace between great powers in at least modern history. And when the president thrusts our world into a new might makes right global order, when all of that is happening, I fear that it might actually be the perfect recipe for nuclear proliferation. When you look at the world over the last few decades, a clear pattern has emerged. Countries that give up their weapons, take for example Ukraine, or never develop them like Taiwan, have found themselves vulnerable to the world's nuclear powers, whether that's Russia or China. And when you look at our own foreign policy, the only country within the axis of evil outlined by President Bush after 9/11 that we've not initiated military action against is the only one with nuclear weapons, that's North Korea. In fact, the United States has never conducted direct strikes on a country with nuclear weapons. And I fear that as countries think of how best to protect themselves in this new might makes right global order, the conclusion that they will draw is not only, yes, they should invest in conventional and asymmetrical capabilities, but that they will decide that the ultimate insurance policy against aggression is a nuclear weapon of their own. And that raises, for me, a serious concern. What happens if countries aren't deterred, but instead feel pushed to pursue nuclear weapons, perhaps even secretly outside the international oversight regime that we've created? What's our strategy then? Are we prepared to confront every country that goes down that path, or are we heading toward a world with more nuclear states and less transparency? President Macron said it plainly this month. He said, quote, "The next half century will be an age of nuclear weapons." I don't want him to be right. But we have to be clear-eyed about whether our current approach is reinforcing that vision, even if unintentionally. So, Mr. Undersecretary, if we are inadvertently incentivizing proliferation rather than intimidating countries away from it, what is the administration's plan? What is your plan to grapple with that kind of world?
Thank you for the question, Representative. I'm not sure I agree with the premise of your question that we are driving allies away. As you were asking your question, I was just making a list of the NATO allies that I've been engaged with over the last just few weeks. I just got back from the UK and France, where we had an extensive nuclear dialogue with the French. We had a full day, let me finish if I might, on precisely on what you're talking about, what the French announcement was, and how we would integrate with NATO. The most powerful tool we have for nonproliferation is U.S. extended deterrence commitments. The president has been crystal clear. That's part of my job. And again, the list of countries here, I'll spare you the list.
Sure, I agree that NATO continues, hopefully undegraded, and I agree that there are actually opportunities for Europe to increase their investment in their own capabilities, perhaps even nuclear. My concern is adversaries receiving the wrong message from us, that the only way to protect themselves from us is to pursue a nuclear weapon. I know we're in Iran right now hoping to intimidate other countries into not pursuing nuclear weapons, but if you look at the trend of countries that we have gone after or that other nuclear powers have gone after, it's non-nuclear states. And in a might make right global order, if countries are concerned that international rules and territorial integrity no longer matters, and that the only way to protect yourself is absolute strength, and the epitome of absolute strength is a nuclear weapon, your job then will have to be to grapple with that downstream consequence, even if unintended, from the administration's policy.
But let me answer your concern. I think it's a legitimate one. Number one, I mentioned earlier in the hearing, I think we have to modernize our nonproliferation approach. The Nuclear Suppliers Group, again, they do a lot of good work. That was organized in 1974. The NPT review conference is next week. I think the NPT needs to modernize and understand that there are limits to what treaties and nonproliferation programs can do. We need to make them more effective to prevent precisely the type of proliferation I think you're getting at, whether it's sort of friendly, which again I already talked about in this notion of adversary pursuing weapons. We have to strengthen our regimes and modernize them.
Well, I'm out of time, and I'm concerned that the rest of the administration's foreign policy undermines that goal. I'll yield back.